basic general guide on how to craft jump jets. Jump jets are something that's highly individual according to your playstyle and what frame you're using, so there's no standard way of crafting it, like oh my god, this is the absolutely best way to craft a pair of jump jets. I'll just go over the individual stats and so you can determine yourself which one is the best for the amount of mass that you get. I won't be talking about the lower stages because the math is different on those, so yeah, it would take too long to go over them all. All of the components use mass, and quite a bit of mass, so you're gonna need to keep that down. The first component, air sprint, affects this value. What air sprint does is when you use jump jets, press forward and sprint, you're gonna see you move forward slightly faster, and it increases the energy that's drained. So if you craft this component, you'll see that the stat goes down instead of up like normal. So yeah, then you reduce the amount of energy drained, but you won't increase the speed. I mean, how much extra speed you get for air sprinting. And since the decrease is quite low, it's just not worth it getting the stat. I think it's percent based, so you drain like 32% extra energy on this quality. And you can reduce that by a bit, but for quite a high mass cost. So for air sprint, just make it as low quality as possible. It's never a good stat to spend on. The second quality or second component is energy. It will add directly to the energy pool. I think you can get around 200-250 extra energy from this if you max it out. Let's say you have 500 energy from the start. So yeah, at first glance it looks like 250 extra energy. That's like a big increase. I mean, that's going to give you a lot more airtime. But it actually won't, since you have a CPU stat or CPU tech in the garage. When you level that up, for each level you get 30 extra energy. So at CPU tech 10 you'll get 300 extra energy. So that's included in your base energy. So add that to the 500 that you have from just the base on this item, that makes 800. So if you increase that by 250, that's not too much. I mean, yeah, it's a bit. It will give you a bit extra airtime, but not as much as you would think. And it's gonna cost you a lot of mass if you max this out. The energy recharge, the last component, will give you around 60 or so if you max it out. 60 energy extra per second. I won't go over the math of this, but if you do the math on it, on how long you're actually in the air, you'll see that energy recharge is by far the most efficient stat. And it's, in my opinion, the only stat that's actually worth taking of all of these. So yeah, energy recharge, best stat. Energy can be used sometimes, but usually you don't really need it, and air sprint always tank that. Some variations are if you're using a really heavy frame, you're gonna be moving slower in the air, so you're gonna need stronger jets to get where you want to go. The better option, instead of crafting better jump jets, is to reduce the rest of your mass, like getting a slightly worse plating or something that uses a lot of mass, because that will in effect make your jet stronger without actually increasing your or making new jets. The second variation is if you're playing a really light frame, or if you're playing a frame with movement speed abilities like the Arsenal's rocket jump or assault afterburner. Because they are light, or because they have the movement speed bonuses or abilities, you can actually get away with using even lower quality materials. For example, my Tiger Claw and Firecat and Arsenal, I'm only using white quality on all three components, and I never run out of energy just because I have those movement speed abilities and I keep the frames decently light. So yeah, that's a basic way of crafting it. When you prioritize energy recharge as best, energy sometimes worth using but usually not. An air sprint completely useless, just never get that. If you feel like it, you can use 1 or 2 cores in these if you feel you have cores to spare, just to keep the mass down. You can also use structural reinforcement. I would recommend using the highest or second highest structural reinforcement. It will give you the most value if you're using white mats on this, white on this, and purple on this. So that's a general way of crafting jump jets.